Hello there, and then welcome to a brand new video. Now in this lesson, we are looking at the vertical or column method for addition and then subtraction. The vertical method is when a number is arranged digit by digit under their correct place value, as you would see us do. And then they are then added or subtracted starting from the ones column. Okay. Now this method is very useful. Right? It is very useful, especially for large numbers. Even for small numbers, it is fast, and then it is very advantageous. So without much I say, let's quickly look into how we use this method to add and then subtract numbers. We'll do that with some examples, of course. Now for this first question we have over here, we have to add 3,467 to 5,328, right? So for this first one, that has to do with addition. What do? Is you write the first number, which is your 3,467. And you take note that this is the ones, the tens, hundreds, and thousands. So if you are coming to write this one, you also make sure that it ones, which is the 8. So we have the 8. Then it tens is also under this tens column. Then you have your 3 here, and then your 5 over here. And take note, we are adding, right? So this is basically the basis of the, what do you call it, the vertical or the column method. All you need to do is to make sure you arrange your numbers such that they are in the same what column. You get it? After which we can now do what? Add. So in adding, we will be adding column wise. In column wise, I mean we'll add from this column, ones column to ones column. That is 7 plus 8. 7 plus 8 gives us what we call a 15. But we can't write all the 15 over here. No. So what we do is we write the rightmost digit. So if we have 15, then the rightmost digit, or I mean this side here, right? Because we are in ones column, we write this one, so that we'll just have the 5 over here. You see, then what we have left, which is the 1, it comes up here. It is carried. We say you carry it to the next column. If it is carried to the next column, we now have 1, this 1, plus 6 plus 2. You see, 1 plus 6 plus 2 gives us a 9. So 9 can be written here. Then 4 plus 3. 4 plus 3 also gives us a 7. So we have that 7 over here. Then we have 3 plus 5. 3 plus 5 also gives us an 8. And then that is all. You see? So therefore, 3,467 plus 5,328 yields what? 8,795. You see how very simple the column or vertical method is as compared to the methods we have done so far. Let's pick another example. So with this second one we have over here, we have 24,586, and we are adding it to 47,479. So our solution, we have 24,586. Then we have, you make sure you are arranged so that the columns are aligned, right? So I'll start from the 9, 7, 4, 7, 4. You see, and since we are adding, then all I'll need to do is to put my symbols over here. So I mean this ones. So we put an equal to sign over here, and then we start the addition column wise. So we have 6 plus 9, and you know 6 plus 9 will give us a 15. So I'll just write 5 here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry my 1 to the next column. That is, it comes here. Then I start over again. 1 plus 8, this 1 plus 8, then plus 7. That gives us a 16. So your 6 comes here, and you carry the 1 here. You see? So we have 1 plus 5 plus 4, and that gives us a 10. So we can't write all the 10 over here like this, but rather we write only 0. And then the 1 comes up over here. We start again. 1 plus 4 plus 7. That gives us a 12. We cannot write the whole 12 here, but then we rather write 2 and carry out the 1 to this side here. Then we go again. 1 plus 2 plus 4. That gives us a 7. So we put a 7 over here. And that sums it all up. So we can then say that 24,586 plus 47,479 yields an answer of what? 72,065. So that ends that of addition. Let's look at how we can also apply the vertical or column method to subtract numbers. Now for this first subtraction problem, what is it saying? It says we should subtract 4,643 from, take note, we are taking this one out of this. So in simple terms, it means 9,978 minus 4,648. Okay. So our solution, we have 9,000, that is a 9,978, then minus 4,648. Now, you'd have to take note of one thing, especially when we are borrowing. So if we get there, you'd see how that plays out. But before that, let's quickly solve this one. So we have 8 minus 8. 8 minus 8 gives us a 0. So we write the 0 in the column of our operation. Then we have 7 minus 4. 7 minus 4 gives us a 3. 6 minus 9 minus 6. And that also gives us a 3. So we write our 3 down here. And then we have the 9 minus 4. So 9 minus 4 also then gives us a 5. You see how simple it is. So for 9,978 minus 4,648 will then give us an answer of what? 5,330. You see, very simple. Now let's look at one critical one where some of the numbers might be bigger than the other. Okay, so for this one here, we have to subtract 18,487 from 62,652. How do we go about it? Now, unlike the previous one, if you look at this set of numbers, we have some of those up here that are smaller than some of those down here. For instance, this 2 and 7 like this, same applying to this 5 and 8, and same applying to this 2 and 8. So take critical look at what we are going to do here. We have 2 minus 7. That isn't going to work. Actually, it's giving us a negative, and we don't want to write negative just yet. So what you do is you go and then borrow 1 out of this column here. You see? So if you borrow 1 out of this column, it comes as 10. You see? You remember you are in your tens column. You can use that as an illustration or an example. You are in your tens column. So if you borrow 1 out of it, you are borrowing 10 out of, what do you call it? The 5. And if the 10 comes here, it comes to add up to this. So plus 10. And this one no more becomes 5. It is no more a 50. But then you'll be left with what? A 40. So 4. You see? And in that case, instead of 2 now, this has become 2 plus 10, which is 12. So your subtraction now becomes 12 minus 7. Do you see? 12 minus 7. And 12 minus 7 will give us what? A 5. So we write our 5 over here. Then we now come to this column. Take note, you have already taken out one of the 10s out of the 5 and you're left with just 4. And 4 minus 8 is also not going to work. This is. So you are going to borrow 1 out of this column and bring it here. You see. So the ones you are bringing here, you are borrowing it in the form of a 10. This is. But in this case especially, if it comes over here in the form of a 10, it adds up to this 4, you see, in this way. So let me say plus 10. And it actually becomes a 14. And take note, this 6 will no longer be 6, but then it will now be 5. Because you have borrowed 1 out of it to the next column. So you now have 14 in total here. So your 14 minus the 8. 14 minus 8 this time around gives us what? A 6. So we write our 6 over here very nicely. And take note, we have just 5 left in this particular column. So 5 minus 4 gives us a 1. We write our 1 nicely. And then this time around too, we have a 2 minus 8. So you are going to borrow 1 from here. And as you borrow 1, it comes here in a form of 10. Right? So 10 plus your 2 becomes 12. And take note, as you have borrowed 1 already from here, you now have just 5 left over here. You see? So with that, you have 12 minus 8. 12 minus what? 8, which gives you a 4. Then take note of our 5 we have left here. So 5 minus 1 gives us what? A 4. As simple as that. So what that means is we say as 62,652 minus your 18,487 has given us an answer of 44,165 as our final answer. So I would advise you go back and look at the processes that involve in the borrowing and adding here. You see, because it is very important to take note. If the number up is smaller than that down, you would have to borrow. And if you borrow, it reduces the one you are borrowing from and then increases the one you are borrowing to by 10. You see, so take note of that. So basically, this is the column or vertical method that we apply to add and then subtract numbers. I do hope this lesson was helpful. As usual, I'll leave out some exercises just for you to try to test your understanding. So these are the exercises you have over here. They are just about 8 questions in all. You can try them to test your understanding and take note. You have to use the column or vertical method to do these additions and then subtractions for me. If this is your first time on this channel and it was helpful, you can choose to subscribe if you so do wish, so that anytime I release the next video, you'll be notified as well. In our next lesson, we'll be looking at how to use the vertical or column method to work out multiplication. I do hope this one was helpful. Do have a blessed day, and then stay blessed. Bye for now.